Okay, so this is a crucial part of your story because there's all this history and everything with Judge and how impactful and powerful these records you made were. And then you go back to New Jersey, and then that's it. Then Mike Judge is fucking gone. And then all of a sudden we hear about the Mike Judge and Beavis and Butthead as a TV show. Nobody hears about the original Mike Judge anymore. You're like off the grid. So what's the first thing you do? Just go look for a regular job? Like, do you know what you're gonna do with your life at that point?
No, dude. Well, so I go home, right? I fucking hang out for like a week, and I honestly start missing like the fucking camaraderie of like being in the van and just like us against the world. I start missing that.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere,
that longing for the family, and then
I hear a motorcycle pull down my driveway, and it's Todd, and he just got a bike, and he goes, because I hadn't seen him since the tour either, and this was like a couple weeks later, and he's like, "Come on outside, let's go for a ride." So went outside, got on my bike, we just started riding, and we just rode for hours, dude, and that was it. I wound up fucking joining a motorcycle club.
So had you never rode motorcycles before, dirt bikes, none of that shit? It wasn't your thing at all? You never thought about being on motorcycles, or?
I rode motorcycles my whole life.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you already been doing that already, but never thought about like getting a Harley and shit like that. So you start riding motorcycles with Todd, and then you enter a bike club, is what they call them, I think. And that's how long you in that for?
Probably 3-4 years.
So you're not even thinking about music.
Dude, I'm not even thinking about music. That whole everything that you guys did in the 90s went right by me.
I know.
Didn't pay attention to any of it.
It's kind of hard. It's kind of cool you're off the grid because, like, where is Mike Judge? So what about Old Smoke? When did that come out? Like, when did that come out?
I was always like listening to like Neil Young on tour and stuff. Like his lyrics were like, they did something for me. Like they calmed me down after sets and shit. Yeah. And I just started playing that kind of stuff.
Wow.
So Todd
how soon after Judge? Like a year, a couple months. You like Jones and you started playing, and
I don't even remember. It was probably like a couple of years.
Yeah.
I was like, it was more to fucking hang out, like reasons to hang out with like Todd and a couple other guys. I like had no idea what other people were playing, like what kind of music people were playing. Like I missed all that shit. I didn't listen to music. I didn't fucking watch MTV. I didn't know nothing about what was cool, what wasn't cool.
I love that.
I listened to Neil Young, Townes Van Zandt, and fucking Leonard Cohen. That's who I listened to.
So you weren't listening to hardcore no more. You was totally off that whole world. Just
like, wow. I was out. I was out because it just broke my spirit. That whole thing.
Were you still living the straight edge lifestyle during that time?
Yeah.
So, because when Old Smoke came out, it was like out of nowhere. All of a sudden, you hear about this record that came out because you're totally off the grid, and then all of a sudden, this record comes out. I think it bugged people out because they didn't know what was going. You know what I mean? Like it's just all of a sudden, I think it was a record from Mike Judge. It's like what? It was just crazy.
Yeah, because we were fucking like we were like hanging out and playing like a lot of acoustic guitar and shit, like shit like that. And then Todd had this job in New York in the meatpacking district, right? And it was like he worked at this abatement place, and so in the back of this warehouse, this dude, I don't know if you know him, Richie Havens. He played in Woodstock and shit.
Yeah, I never heard the name. Yeah,
he owned a studio back there.
Okay.
So he owned a studio back there in back of this abatement warehouse.
Okay.
So Todd invited me over there and introduced me like Richie Havens. And then Richie Havens had this sound man named Dennis. He was like, he did sound at like Woodstock and shit. And me and Dennis were just talking about all kinds of shit. And Richie had just bought like all the old Electric Ladyland equipment, like
shit!
Jimi Hendrix
Wow.
old stuff.
Yeah.
So we were just like having a blast, like plugging guitars into different amps and shit, and just playing. And then he wound up fucking recording it.
Oh shit!
So it was never like really like, let's do this, let's make a band or anything like that. We just got guys who were hanging around to play. It
was like a jam session.
Just puts it together.
Yeah.
And then
what year did that come out?
I don't even know. Was that like 93 maybe?
Yeah. All right, so now you're a biker. You got long hair, you got the beard, and you did Old Smoke, and like now you live in this total different chapter of your life, right? Hardcore's happening in the 90s. Shit's getting crazy in New York. It's getting violent. There's different bands coming. Different bands are breaking up. Different bands are going like a metal route. You're not paying attention to any of that shit. There's no internet. There's no social media. You're not watching MTV. Like,
yeah, I have no clue this is all happening, except I had one friend, this dude, Mike, called him Mosh, and he's like an old friend. He's like an old friend of mine from school.
Okay.
And
Mike Mosh.
I gave him my first Judge record.
Okay.
And he got into it when he was like a little kid. So I didn't know it, but he kept with it and wound up being part of the New York scene.
Okay.
So I wound up hooking up with him again. I see him around town, and he tells me like he's seen so and so says what's up.
Gotcha.
And I was like, oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And then so every month he would stop by and say, yeah, I went to this show. This guy says what's up. Went to this show. So I'm getting like little bits of things.
Yeah.
But nothing to like where I'm just like, oh, I want to give those guys a call. At this point, I feel like so much time has gone by that I don't even know if they would remember me or want to hear from me. Because a lot of life had happened at this point. And I wasn't there for any of it for them. So, maybe they don't want to hear from me. So I'm not going to interject myself. And so it's just going on like that. He would stop by and say, so-and-so said, what's up? So-and-so, what's up?
Gotcha.
And that goes on for like fucking years.
Do you remember when you first heard that Rabies passed away in like 97?
What's that?
Do you remember hearing about Rabies passing away? Like somebody got that message to you when that happened?
I don't think I knew it when it happened, but I did hear it.
Yeah.
I did hear it. I remember hearing Frenchie was the first one who when he fucking died, I was like, wow. Because Frenchie was like an old friend and of course Ray. But I mean, we were losing people back then, Yeah,
I remember Chuck Val too, like that was in the 90s too. So you were getting snippets of things. You'd hear about different things and you had no contact with Purcell and nobody from the bands, right?
Nobody.
Wow.
And you want to know? And dude, like I remember the first time someone mentioned like pop punk to me. I was like, "What the fuck is that? What do you mean pop punk?" They're like, pop punk. I'm like, "No, what's pop punk?" They like start naming off these bands,
because
like,
punk rock is blowing up. So you're off the grid.
He's like,
and punk rock's going mainstream.
Like, yeah. They're like, dude, turn on the TV or something. You're missing it. I'm like, I'm missing what? Pop punk. Like, I don't give a fuck about pop punk.
Oh my God, dude. So, were you staying out of trouble in your new life? You on a good path?
No, I was getting into fucking major. I was getting into major fucking. It was an outlaw motorcycle club in the Bronx.
Yeah.
So
oh shit. Okay.
We were up to no good. So.
Okay. So you're escaping. You had a crazy life growing up, going to shows, experiencing violence, going on your own, pretty much raising yourself, going to the city, get involved in the hardcore scene, getting to the straight edge and youth would say the positive shit touring. Still have this inner rage to get out, seeing the shit happening during Youth of Today, you want to stand up for them and speak up and get in and fuck people up who are talking shit and being passive aggressive. And then you go back, you're done with Youth of Today, you make this incredible Judge records, you get all your anger out, these lyrics and all this shit. And a lot of shit gets taken literally, and some of it gets misconstrued, and you go on tour, and then more violence is happening at the shows. Then you're like fucking over it, and then you go disappear off the grid. Then you join a biker club, and then, more violence ensues in your life, basically.
Yeah.
That in a nutshell. It's like a roller coaster and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's like a roller coaster. It's like a roller coaster with only the scary parts.
Exactly. Yeah. So then you're in this club for a couple years. That's crazy. And then the Old Smoke comes out. And then we're gonna we fast forward now to. Fuck. So I moved to New York in '88, and you were just done with fucking hardcore, like 88, 89. You were like, I'm out. So that's probably why I didn't meet you.
Yeah.
Like, our time frame was off.
Yeah, I just missed you, dude.
You just missed me because you were like fucking northbound, and I was southbound, and that fucking Lincoln Tunnel, man. It's true. And so what's crazy is that once we became friends, you would once you started getting back in the mix, I think you started looking at YouTube and checking out all these different bands, and we started communicating about you asking me questions about different groups and this and that. So I remember the first time seeing you fast forward at the B&B Bowl where Gorilla Biscuits were playing, and everybody said, Mike Judge was coming, Mike Judge was coming. It was like the urban legend, the myth of Mike Judge is going to be here. Nobody's seen him in like 30 million years. And then I look over and I see you on the balcony. I think I said hi to you something because I knew it was you, just respect, obviously. But I remember seeing you there and you watching. Like, Siv gave this big shout out. And like, that was kind of the beginning of like, you were slowly coming back into the mix, correct?
Yeah, kind of. It actually started before that. Like,
how'd they get you there? Like, who contacted you?
The first thing that happened, the first thing that ever happened was, I was in the Bronx, hanging out, and I get a phone call from an old friend. His name's Tavi.
Yeah.
And so Tavi's like, "What's going on, dude? I got a big favor." And I'm like, "What's up?" And he goes, "A good friend of mine named Ezek is recording a record of cover songs.
Oh, wow.
And he wants to do The Storm. Would you be into singing on it?" And I was like, no one had ever asked me that in fucking, I don't even know how many years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But Tavi's my heart. I love Tavi.
Yeah.
So for him, I would do anything. So if you want me to do it, brother, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Turns out that they had already recorded all the songs and everything was broken down, and it would cost too much to reset everything up. So I wound up not doing it.
Okay.
So that was the beginning.
Okay.
And then I don't know how much longer, but Tavi calls me up again and goes, "Dude, I have these other friends. They got a radio show in New York. So you think you'd want to come in and be on it? They just want to talk to you about old New York and shit." And it was like Cousin Joe.
Yeah.
And Busky and Lawrence and stuff.
Yeah.
And I worked it out with Tavi, like, what it was going to be about. And it's just going to be about talking about old New York and stuff like that.
Totally.
So I'm like, all right, I'll do it. So I fucking do that, and it's fucking pretty cool,
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like blown away, like how many people are hanging out, and it's like it's on First Avenue and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking around, I'm like, I remember like running from Rostas on this fucking block, like I was like getting all these like fucking crazy memories. And
yeah.
So when it's over, I go home and it's fucking, I just put it away.
Yeah.
And then so my buddy calls me up. A while later, my buddy calls me up, that dude Mosh, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, "Dude, you got to do me a big, big, big favor. I'll never ask you for another favor, but you just got to do me this one favor." So I was like, "What's up?" And he's like, "Sick of It All is playing in New York fucking show is sold out, and I need to get in. Can you please get me in? I'm like, I don't know how to get somebody into a gig. And he's like, are you kidding? Those guys would do anything. Just fucking call them. I'm like, I don't even know who to fucking call, dude.
Oh my God.
And he's like, please, just try for me, please, please, please. So he's begging. So I'm like, I'll see what I can do. So I fucking sit, and I'm looking at my fucking phone. I'm rolling through it, and then I see fucking Anthony Civarelli. So I'm like, I wonder if Civ still is part of that whole thing. If he still talks to anybody and shit. Let me give him a call. It's been like fucking, I don't know how many fucking years, like 30 years.
Holy shit, dude.
So I call Civ, and, you know, he's like, hello? And I'm like, hey, this is Mike. He used to be in a band called Judge. And he's like, Mike Judge? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, is this fucking Anthony Civarelli? He's like, yeah. So we start talking and shit.
Wow.
And so he's like, of all reasons, why did you fucking call? I said, I need to get a friend of mine into the Sick of It All show this weekend. And so he just fucking starts laughing.
Oh my God, dude.
So he goes, I'll call you right back. So Steve calls me back, and he says, you know, I got your friend in, but you got to do me a favor. You got to come to see us play the Black and Blue this year. And so that's how it happened.
Holy shit.
To get my buddy into the show, I promised Civ that I would come see Gorilla Biscuits play Black and Blue. So now I'm going to see Gorilla Biscuits, and I played like one of the early hardcore Super Bowl of hardcore, so I'm kind of stoked about it and shit.
Were you nervous? Did you have anxiety? Were you nervous? Like you're coming. It's like you're coming out of the woods to go to the city to this hardcore show. You know what anything's like. Was there any kind of skepticism?
Yeah, I didn't have any anxiety because I just didn't think it was big.
Totally.
I just thought it was the way I left it.
Okay.
The cute little fucking scene that I left.
Yeah.
And that's, but like now I'm married and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So my wife is like, she's like, who are these guys? I'm like, guys, friends I used to travel around with. And she's like, well, what do you mean travel around with? I was like, yeah, we had bands and we used to travel around the fucking country and play. She's like, you were in a band that played. I'm like, yeah, no big deal.
She never knew about Judge?
No.
Oh my God, dude.
So she's like, what's the name of your band? And so I tell her it's this band called Judge. And I didn't use my real name. I went under the name Mike Judge. And so she calls me from work, and she's like, what the fuck? You know, I Googled it, and the first thing that came up was like the Judge video.
Holy shit.
And then she's like, what the fuck? You know, why wouldn't you tell me something like this? And I'm like, I didn't think anybody would want to know. You know, I was like, didn't even think about it, you know?
That is crazy.
And she's like, so she comes, when she comes home from work, she was like Googling all this different Judge shit. And she's like, holy shit. Like, that's a major part of your whole fucking life that you never even mentioned. I'm like, yeah, well.
How long were you heard together at that moment? How long were you guys together for?
7, 8, 9 years.
Wow, man. A whole different life she knew nothing about. It's crazy.
Yeah. So she's like, and she's like into like heavier music and shit. She's always talking about stuff like that. Never nothing like punk rock or anything or hardcore, but like heavier bands and shit. And so what's funny is now we're waiting to fucking go to this gig, right? And I'm telling her, it's my friends, fucking, they're in a band called Gorilla Biscuits. We traveled around the country a lot together and shit. And then I fucking keep hearing that fucking song, I Can't Wait 1 Minute More.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking song. It's on a commercial and shit.
Yeah.
And she's fucking constantly fucking singing it and shit. And it's just making me crazy. And I'm like, you know, that dude used to be like a roadie for me. You know, like, it's like telling her, like, stop singing that fucking song, you're making me nuts. And she's like, what? You know, like one of those deals. And then we go to the fucking show, and the Black and Blue guys are like, they fucking treat us like fucking great.
Yeah.
Like,
Remember that.
Beyond fucking
respect. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like great.
Mm-hmm.
And then Shiv actually pulled me aside, and he's like, "Dude, you think you're up to fucking coming out and singing New York Crew with us? Because we're gonna do it." And I just remember looking at the crowd. It's so huge. I was like, "No fucking way, dude!" Like, it's just way too many fucking people.
Like, how big was how big was the last Judge show you played in Florida? How big? A couple hundred people back then?
I don't even think that.
Yeah. And now you go into the fucking Webster Hall. It's like 1,000 people.
Yeah, it's fucking huge.
Yeah.
And then all this, and then Sid has this rap before New York Crew and shit.
Yeah, I remember him talking about it. Yeah, man, it was crazy.
And I was like blown away. And then they play the song, and I see the reaction it gets and stuff. And
yep.
It definitely had my fucking mind working on the way home. And then I remember like a week or two later, I called Cousin Joe and asked him if I got Judge back together, could we play the Black and Blue next year?
You called him up and said that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he was like, yes.
So Karen had never seen you play any music, and now you're going to play at the B&B Bowl, which ended up selling out super fast. You guys added 2 shows. And I remember hearing somebody say like that it kind of weirded you out that you had to play after Breakdown, because you were like, dude, Breakdown, when you guys were around back then, Breakdown was this band like you respect, you know what I mean? So it was weird when you saw it live, you were kind of confused because you didn't know like if you should be playing after Breakdown, right?
I complained about a lot. I mean, like when I said I wanted to play the Black and Blue, those guys were stoked, but I didn't think headlining it.
Oh, shit!
I never thought about headlining the Black and Blue.
Yeah.
I mean, and so there were a lot of bands who were like, I don't know, I don't know if to me it might be disrespectful to have some of these bands play before me.
Yeah.
And then with adding the next show, they're like, listen, we usually do this other show at another place, but because this one sold out so quick, we're just going to do it at Webster Hall, and we're going to put you on, and you're going to headline this one. Dude. And then I looked at that one, and it was like Madball was on it. And I remember Madball. I mean, I remember Freddie when he was like a little kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, Madball is still together, and I'm going to fucking, Judge is going to headline over them? I was like, no, it's not. Fuck. It's just a matter of respect. I would never do that.
Yeah.
But then, fast forward a while, and I wound up running into Ezek and, talked to him. I was like, I don't mean any of this to be disrespectful in any way. And he's like, don't think of it like that, dude. This is a great thing for New York. So.
Yeah. So so now you're back in the mix. Are you kind of like Googling different bands and watching stuff and trying to catch up on what's been going on in the hardcore scene? Because when you saw the GB show, you saw how massive it is. You're like, holy shit! Like, you kind of have.
Yeah, well, I figured out what pop punk was. Like,
finally,
what the fuck?
Finally,
how did this happen?
Yeah.
So it's just weird, man. I remember the thing that blew me away the most was Bad Religion, because I remember getting like, How Could Hell Be Any Worse?
Yeah.
Fucking like when it first came out.
Yeah.
And the first time I heard them was on like this compilation, like rap music, and they had the song Slaves on it. And I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that song Slaves. So when How Could Hell Be Any Worse came out, I bought it. And I fucking loved it so fucking much. And then Bad Religion comes to New York, and no one gives a shit. Like,
damn.
Like no one went.
Yeah.
And I was like one of the only people. I was like, and then all of a sudden, I missed this whole chunk of fucking music in the 90s.
Totally.
And Bad Religion is still around, and they're fucking huge, and they're playing to like college kids.
Yeah.
And now like college guys are fucking digging Bad Religion. And it's trying to fucking wrap my mind around that. Like, where were all you motherfuckers, like, when we needed you, back then, like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And just, like, to see how Dixon and how much, like, videos had to do with everything.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy. There's a lot to take in that small period of time.
Yeah, I feel like you were doing, like, tons of, like, looking up history of all the New York hardcore bands and doing your research, because we ended up started talking. You asked me questions about different things. When did you guys shoot that? What happened to that show and this show? Like, you were totally catching up on everything. Like, you caught up through all those years you missed leading up to the show, and like how on that day, because it's the first time Karen and her kids are gonna see you play. She's gonna see her man play in the band she never even fucking knew about to a couple months before, and then like leading up to that show, like your anxiety, like. Fuck, man, you must have been like a wreck. Were you totally stressed out, or were you excited about it?
I was like, I was stressed, and then we had our first rehearsal.
Yeah.
And so I show up to that rehearsal, and it was weird. I fucking walk in there, and everybody's there already.
Yeah. Because
I'm late. So I walk in, and we just start fucking talking. Like, there was no like, hey, where you been? What you been doing? This and anything. We just started talking like we were hanging out yesterday. And then we just sat down and started playing songs. And everything, all like the anxieties went away. I think I was.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think all the fucking anxieties I was feeling was like about seeing those guys again.
Yeah.
Because I went from basically living with them in a fucking van to not seeing them for years.
Totally. And here you go. You walk in the room. It's like a high school reunion kind of thing. It's like kind of like, what's everybody been up to? You know what I mean? The vibes. It must have been definitely a vibe.
And then when we started playing, like, just to hear that shit was amazing.
Because you haven't listened, you hadn't listened to any of your music in all those years. You haven't thought about it. You haven't fucking seen any YouTube videos of old Judge videos. Nothing, right? Completely like just
nothing. I mean,
wow, dude.
Like once I knew that we were going to play again, then I was like, I got to find like these songs so I could hear them.
Yeah.
So I wound up going on the internet and bootlegging this fucking Judge record. But I remember like hearing The Storm again, and I was like, wow, that's a badass. That sounds pretty bad. And man, I remember it just brought back like what I loved about being in that band. And I didn't really think about the bad shit.
Yeah.
Just how cool I thought that band was.
Yeah, so it's like, did you ever expect ever to be playing like another Judge show after all those years? And it's crazy.
No.
Man. It's fucking crazy.
No. I just remember like being there and like wondering like, are people gonna like stay for us?
So after Civ did New York Crew and you saw the reaction, were you like, what was that like? Seeing your friend play your song, you guys.
Yeah, there was actually a little bit of jealousy there. Like, it made me want to it made me want to do it. It definitely made me start thinking in those terms again. But then like how everything happened where I was planning on just playing the gig and we wound up headlining, which was a whole nother pressure.
Yeah.
And then hoping like people would show up and then it's selling out. And then I was like, well, maybe it's sold out for like all these other bands, and like, are people going to stick around for Judge if we're headlining? Like I don't want people walking out right before Judge.
No, Joe. But then seeing GB cover the song and Civ pretty much showing like, yo, bro, people still care about your band. Like people still care about the song that you guys did originally and brought to the scene, and like people care. I think it's awesome. You got to go that, and he asked you to come and experience that because that got you inspired to like actually play again. It's pretty awesome. But then, it
was just great to see the GB guys again.
Yeah, old friends. Yeah, man. Fucking so, Karen's gonna see you. Sorry for the first time. I remember being at that show. We flew out for that show, and like everything you talked about. You actually I don't know if you did this back in the day, but you actually broke down what each song's about, and some of the stuff you talked to me earlier in the podcast, say about struggles and your cousin and the heroin, all that stuff. You actually started, you were talking about each song, breaking it down, what it actually was about, and I thought it was really awesome, man. Like that was, you know what I mean? That took a lot of heart to even do that and open up like that. Because you were breaking those songs down the first night. I remember, like, it was awesome.
Well, there's always been like some lyrics that have always been pointed out to me, like, this is like such a fucking, you know, you're such a jerk off for saying this. And especially that one line, those drugs are going to kill you if I don't get to you first.
Yep.
Like, that line has been thrown at me so many fucking times. Like, you're a fucking motherfucker. You're a jerk off. You don't give a fuck about anybody, you know? And like, that line was specifically written about my cousin after her daughter was fucking raped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, that's what it was about.
You put that line in that scenario, then it makes complete sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's totally it's everything about it makes sense, you know? But people didn't know where that was coming from. You know,
yeah, people just thought it was like
some straight edge, like, you know, fuck drugs, I'm gonna kill you. You know what I mean? They took it away, 100%. And you wrote it from a real place of like hurt and anger and pain from growing up and dealing with that. You know, so it's like, yeah, that's really cool. You could break it down. Like, I love the fact that you broke those songs down and took it to that, because I think a lot of people are like, holy shit, I've been listening to the song for fucking 30 years. I didn't even know it was about that. You know what I mean? Like, it was awesome, man. And I feel like when you came out, it was so dark. Just the whole vibe, the energy, man, everything about it, man. I'm sure after like the one or two songs, you just felt, were you nervous the whole time? But you just kind of felt, it just came natural.
No, I was pretty fucking nervous, dude. I ain't gonna fucking lie. So, you know how Webster Hall is when you're upstairs and you're looking out the window and shit?
Yeah.
And I was like looking out that window and fucking just, I was standing up, like looking out the window and looking at the amount of people that were there. And like, I was like, my knees actually felt like they were getting weak. Like, I was like, holy shit, there's a fucking lot of people. Like,
holy shit.
Like, there's no room to like fall on your face here.
No.
And then, I remember fucking, you know, John Bloodclot busts in the door. Is like, where's Mike Judge? Where's Mike Judge? And I see him. I haven't seen him in like, I don't know fucking how long. It's like my head was just spinning with all these fucking things. It was just fucking nuts.
And then people came, everybody came out from all around the world to see this shit, doing it's like a sold out show. You're like, what the fuck, man? Where have I been? Like, it's crazy. I mean, it must have felt so awesome, like, to see that many people care about your band. You know what I mean? After all those years, and like people that lived and believed in your lyrics, everything you wrote, everything's. I can't even imagine, dude.
Yeah, I was fucking. I mean, what can I say? I was fucking blown away.
Yeah.
I'm still blown away.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Shit that people say, like, it's fucking humbling, man.
Yeah. How much of impact you and your lyrics and everything about it. So, what about like Karen seeing you guys for the first time with her kids? Was she bugging out? Was she like?
Yeah, I think she was more like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, she thought she was into. She thought she was into like heavy music, you know, like listening to like whatever, Limp Bizkit and shit.
Yeah.
I don't think she had a fucking idea of what like hardcore punk rock was. So,
yeah, like
when the fucking stage started getting like swarmed and like,
dude,
she was like, "What the fuck is this? Like, is he gonna be all right?" Like, I remember she was like fucking crying at one point.
They were jumping on top of you and shit. Like, it was this.
Yeah, she thought she didn't know that that's actually a good thing.
Why are they beating him up? Why are they pigpiling on him?
Yeah.
But just from the opening chord, man, dude, the place exploded, man. It was like electric and shit in the room. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah. Dude, you want to know something, truthfully?
Yeah.
So we go, you go downstairs, right? And you're on the side of the stage and they're playing that intro music.
Yeah.
And like the whole time I kept saying, like, okay, this band's on, I got this much time. This band's on, I got this much time. Yeah. Now we're next. So now I'm like, all right, I still have this much time. So now I'm downstairs and I'm still going. I got this much. The intro just started playing. I got this much time. And then I'm even like, the first chords of the fucking song, I got to wait like 2 whole measures before I even have to do anything. I got this much time.
Wow.
Because I'm like standing off the side in the dark, and I'm honestly fucking fighting with myself. Like, you know, you have no choice but to go out there now. There's no there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You got to go do it now.
Yeah.
And, dude, I was like such a weird fucking like struggle with myself, because I've always been like an introvert. I never wanted to be the focus of anything. I always wanted to fucking blend in, hide. Yeah. I never wanted to be the focus.
And that was all you that night.
But I also had like a need to say how I felt. So it was like, it's weird, you know. Like I'm not the guy who should be a front man, you know. I would never be a front man. But I had an overwhelming need to fucking, you know, shoot my mouth off. Mm-hmm. So.
And look at the impact and how powerful the impact was, and finally having your say and leaving you through today and going to make those records and speak all your truths from growing up and everything, getting it all out. And then 30 years later, fucking that many people from around the whole planet fly in to see you play. It's amazing, man. And hardcore. And so at that point, your perspective on hardcore, what was it after that? You're like, holy shit, this stuff's still going on strong, and there's all these bands that are like make a living off it and travel the world still. Like, was that hard to grasp too?
Yeah, I mean, I started fucking learning what everyone was up to and shit.
Yeah,
so
doing your research.
I started learning what everybody was doing in the 90s and shit. Yeah. And like, you know, I was speechless, you know. Yeah. I can't believe it. You know, learning about Shelter and Civ and all that shit. So I was like, wow, I can't believe it. I missed it all.
It's crazy, man. It's to me, I think it's so cool that you're off the grid and you're able to live a life like that and not just be totally from one thing to another. And this part, I think that's amazing, man. I think more people should turn off their lives in this day and age and just off the grid for a while. But I think that's, I mean, and then to come back and be embraced with so much love and respect from the scene. You know what I mean? That you thought when it was over for you that like it got so violent and it got crazy. And it might have been, you thought could have, at that point, you're probably like, fuck, this shit ain't really going anywhere. The scene's getting violent. It's crazy. You didn't see like it could actually change. You were like, I'm out. And you come back and it's just like this beautiful thing that's still happening. And fuck, man.
No doubt.
All right. So we talked about a lot. It's like, shit, we've been talking almost 2 hours. It's amazing. A couple more things I want to talk about. It's just 2 things. One thing is one of my favorite tattoos I have is by you, and it's an Adele tattoo. And me and you bond over pop music. Like Mike Judge isn't supposed to let people know, but I'm blowing up right now. He likes other musics besides like hardcore and rock and roll and stuff. This guy likes some poppy shit too. Not pop punk, but we like the emo shit.
Oh yeah.
And then do you have any what would be something that Mike Judge listens to that people would not expect?
I mean, I listen to everything as long as the words are good.
Yeah.
Well, I've always cared more about the words than anything else.
Yeah.
So if the words are good, I'll listen to it. But I definitely like shit that's on the moodier side, you know.
Yeah.
Like I did rip, you know, like a lot of Judge songs. There's Judge songs that are based off of like Sabbath riffs.
Yeah.
And shit, but there's also Judge songs that are based off of like New Order riffs, you know. Like,
wow.
So
that's interesting. I never even thought about that. That's crazy. You would never think that, you know.
Yeah, like I said, as long as the words are good, I'll listen to it.
You like Sade too, right?
I wouldn't go that far, brother. No.
Do you fuck with Coldplay or U2?
Dude, I cannot deal with Coldplay or U2. Sorry.
I love you.
I want to bond with you, brother, but the Coldplay thing, I just can't do it.
I hear you. What would be your Coldplay, like something like obscure like that? Like you could name a band that like you're like, I fuck with this, and it's not what I typically think I listen to.
How about Lucero?
Oh, Lucero?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that band. Yeah, awesome. You don't fuck with
Yeah,
Oasis?
I
You don't
love
like
them.
Oasis?
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, there we go. Okay, that's one. And then, what would be? Do you listen to any hip hop or no?
I'm fucking. I think you know this by now. I'm infatuated with fucking diss tracks, dude.
You love
I just think it's the funniest fucking thing. Dude.
Oh,
The
that's
diss
right,
track.
dude. I got the best text from Mike Judge this year. Last year, he was asking me about the Eminem diss with Machine Gun Kelly. I was so fucking psyched. Yeah, you're totally intrigued by like all the diss raps. I love that shit, man. There's so
Yeah,
many.
I just think
dude.
it's so. I think it's like it's kind of cool, man. Instead of like showing up and just throwing down, you just talk shit about somebody.
Yeah, it's like
It's
when you used to
funny.
break dance to battle each other. But yeah, now it's on wax. Yeah, this dude, I'm gonna send you a bunch of like there's some crazy. There's so many Eminem verse so many people, man. But this and 50 Cent verse all these people. But yeah, those are. And then we talk about the little pumps and all that. Sometimes we talked about all the other new little shit that my son listens to. I think
Dude, I love this guy. I love this guy on YouTube. His name is Tom McDonald,
Okay.
and he's just fucking funny as hell. And his diss tracks are fucking great.
He's a rapper?
Yeah,
Okay. I'm gonna look him up. I feel like you went from being completely off the grid to completely on the grid. Like you're in social media. You listen to every type of music now. Like you know about the young hip hop. You know about all the hardcore bands. I feel like you just came back and just absorbed all of it.
yeah. I tried. I tried to be a part of everything, but social media makes me crazy because there's just so many cowards find a place to hide there.
Oh, 100% on that.
Like,
But I'm trying to say like you're off the grid now. You're like you actually know what's going on in this different types of music, and you're fucking, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
you're talking to me about Machine Gun Kelly and Eminem. I'm sure you heard Eminem while you're off the grid though. You had to have heard that name at least, shit, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I heard shit. It's not like I didn't,
Yeah.
run away
The
from
hardcore
music.
scene was different. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like I didn't run away from music. I did listen to music, just mostly radio. I didn't search it out anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't, and being in a bike club, I spent a lot of time in, bars and shit.
Yeah.
So I'd always hear like music there, live bands there.
Was it
But
weird? Was it weird?
never-
Was it weird being in a bike club and not being like a party dude?
It was it kind of sucked, man, because you became like the fall guy. Like we'd all be riding, and if the cops like would pull us over, I would have to be the guy who would pull over. Everybody else would go. Because I'm
the
the guy
sober
who's
driver.
fucking.
Yeah, you like that.
Yeah, but it was also cool. Like at the end of the night, when everybody's loaded, I'm the straight guy who can fucking not get his head handed to him because I'm not fucking stumbling over myself.
Like that. Okay, 2 more questions. Do you have any regrets in your life? I'm sure you do. We all have, but like one that maybe sticks out.
Oof.
It's a hard one, right?
Yeah, I have a few. I have one that I just won't talk about. And
Okay.
then, I mean, I do have a regret that that I turned my back on my friends like I did, and that I didn't find a way to mentally get through that. Like I've always thought that I was like mentally strong. Like
Yeah.
I know I've been to plenty of fucking psychiatrists and shit and therapy where
Oh wow. Okay.
because I've had to like court ordered shit and stuff.
Gotcha.
And it always was like, okay, well, this, that, and the other thing, and then a prescription. And I always, I would always be like, I'd always turn my back on the fucking pills because I'd be like, I don't want to fucking chemically change what's going on. I just want to fix what's going on, or at least understand what's going on, and then learn a way to live with it. I don't want to fucking dull it or dull myself. I don't want to fucking, So I'd always turn my back on the pills, and I always thought, if I can turn my back on the pills when I'm depressed, how come I couldn't fucking figure out a way to stand with my brothers when that shit happened.
Mm.
You know, it was just, I think I took too much of the fault on my shoulders, you know, because I was the guy who wrote the words.
Yeah.
I was the fucking guy who acted the way he acted in the beginning.
Yeah, I think you were too hard on yourself back then, I feel, personally, just hearing your story now, and that it wasn't, you took all the blame you felt was on you, everything was on you, you know? But in reality, it's like when you're in a band, you're a unit, you know? Nobody's going to be in a band if they don't agree with the lyrics the singer's singing. You guys are all on the same page. You're a team, you know, you're a family. So it's like, I wouldn't take all the brunt of all that on yourself, because you just didn't make all the music. You guys did it together. You know what I mean? Like, I know what you're saying though, and that probably was held heavy on your heart for all those years. But like,
yeah.
But in reality, when you come back, nobody cared about any of that shit. When you stepped in the room and practiced and played those songs, all that shit was forgotten, and people love and care about you and your message and your band and everything you're about, and it connected with a lot of people and changed a lot of people's lives. And a lot of people have those Judge Hammers tattooed on them, and you had a massive impact on people, Mike. And it's like, it's hard when you get inside your head and it's like, or you're by yourself thinking about shit like that, and you realize, like, did I have an impact? Was it good? Was it bad? Did I do anything? But I feel like now you probably know even more, coming out after all those years and playing those shows and still playing shows now with Judge, that people fucking, you did a really positive thing. You turned all that shit around to positive, dude. Like, everything you wrote about, and you inspired so many people. And it's hard to take compliments like I'm giving you now, and it's also hard not to be so critical about yourself too a lot of the times. But so yeah, man, I feel like you're a good human, dude. You've been through a lot of shit, and you vented through your music, and that's helped a lot of people. Whether it was a negative thing for you or angry, getting all that message out, when it came through and siphoned out to humans, it was a positive thing, you know? I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Thank you, brother.
So
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, brother.
100%. Would you consider yourself optimistic or pessimistic?
Pessimistic, no doubt.
Okay, right. Respect. It's awesome. So, but you're a pessimist, so that's your everyday life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. I'm always waiting for the walls to cave in.
Wow.
Yeah, dude.
But I get positive vibes from you when we hang out, and I get positive vibes when we talk.
Yeah, because you. Because of you, brother. You know, that's why I fucking.
Thank you.
Karen sits here every fucking night going, "Why don't you just call Toby?" You know, like, we should move to the West Coast. Why? So you could be close to Toby.
Oh my God.
You need Toby in your life, because I don't have, dude. I honestly, this place, I love it, but this place is like my dungeon. You know, this is my hell. There's all my friends are gone. You know, most of them are on the West Coast now.
Yeah.
And the other ones are like moved out of the city and shit, and they're up north. And I get like, the good times I have is when, like, I think about like hanging out with guys like you, or like my old friends and shit. So
yeah.
The positive vibes you're catching off me are just the ones I'm getting off you, brother.
Thank you. Moon said you texted you the other day, and you said something like, "You're living negative approach lyrics, and I'm living 7 seconds lyrics."
Yeah,
something like that.
You're a 7 seconds record, and I'm a walking negative approach record.
Well, I love you, and I wish I met you earlier, but I'm glad we became friends when you guys came back, and we became really close friends when you came back out of the grid, you know, and I think I became even more of a Judge fan since you guys came back, and knowing you as the person and becoming friends with you. And you know, I got your band tattooed on me, you got H2O tattooed, and we became really, really close, and I love that. I love that. Because of Civ inviting you out to that B&B Bowl, you know, you came out and you got to see everybody again. And because of that, I got to become your friend. So I appreciate that. And everything you've done with music and just as a human, you know what I mean? Like, Because otherwise, who knows if we would ever saw you again? You know, it's fucking crazy. But
yeah.
But I guess that's it. We covered a lot of shit.
I gotta thank Sid for all this too, man. He's a big part of. He's always been a big part of my life. Even in the beginning.
Yeah.
He's always been a good friend, and Sid's the man.
Word. Well, on that note, I appreciate your time today. I appreciate you talking about all these stories. I know you told them before, but I appreciate we've been trying to do this for months, get you on the phone, and I appreciate you being open with me and talking about that stuff. And I consider you a close friend, love you a lot, and I do wish you lived out here. And I appreciate your time, Mike Judge, the original.
Thank you, brother. Love you too, man.
I'll speak to you soon, brother. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, brother.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
That was amazing. Right now, check. All right, so Mike, I got you back on the phone today because I wanted to ask you what would be your top favorite bands, like most influential bands. I know you mentioned yesterday about the bands that inspire you, but also, you know, you love Descendants. You like more melodic shit too, like we talked about yesterday. You like 7 Seconds and Descendants. I think you might like H2O a little bit, but you like more melody stuff too. Were you always into the melodic shit that came later?
Yeah, I mean, I got into the Descendants kind of early and stuff. I was more attracted to the words, you know. So
yeah.
So as long as the words meant something to me, I could dig it.
Yeah.
But you know, I like I said, I like everything as long as the words are there.
Yeah. Would you have like a top 5 most influential bands?
To me, influential, like, number 1 would probably be SSD.
Yeah.
Like, that Get It Away record was everything, changed my whole world.
Yeah.
Youth of Today, of course, changed my life.
Yeah.
Outside of, like, that type of, you know, Neil Young,
damn,
just lyrically.
Yeah.
Townes Van Zandt is, like, my favorite. And, damn, there's just so many, man.
What about, is AF in there?
Definitely.
Yeah, AF's in my shit too.
AF was like, AF took us on, like, when I was in Desperate for Dishonor, AF, like, took us under their wing, made us, like, their sister band, you know? And, like, we opened up all their gigs, and, you know, I wouldn't even be a part of that scene if it wasn't for Roger and AF taking care of me.
Yeah.
Because I was just a young, stupid kid, had no idea of how dangerous the situation I was. And it was Roger teaching me, Vinny teaching me what to do, what not to do.
And what do you think of hardcore now? Like as a grown man who was there in the early days and then wasn't there for a while and then came back. Like, are you surprised it's still going strong? Are you like, what do you like? I don't know. Like when you came back to it, you know, I'm sure the dancing has changed. Everything when you first came back out of that time when you played the shows, like, it's pretty crazy how long hardcore's been going on for, though. You know.
Yeah, like, you know, I remember the first time I seen like the dancing on the dance floor. I was like, is that like an actual fight or is that like fucking dancing? I don't get it. But so that was like surprising.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that the music has gone on because, you know, there's always going to be some kid who's got to scream his head off about something.
Yeah.
And hopefully those type of kids will start bands and that's how it keeps going.
Yeah.
But
just seeing like your friends still playing music and still touring, that must be like crazy. And then you guys too. Now you guys are touring again after like 20 years, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I got out of it right when bands were starting to go to Europe. So like, there was like talks of Judge going to Europe right when what's that?
And I'm listening. Go ahead.
Like, there was talks of Judge going to Europe right when we broke up. So all that shit was just starting to happen. So I knew, I didn't know it was going to go on the way it has gone on, but I knew it was going to go a lot farther.
Yeah. But then, like, now, like, coming back and you guys going to, like, places that you never had been before. Yeah, you didn't get a chance to go, like, going to Europe for the first time, going to South America. You guys just did Southeast Asia and all that shit. And, like, That must be crazy, you know? When you first got to go there.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, I kind of got a glimpse of that just from the B&B that we did. The amount of people who like flew in,
Yeah.
and I got to meet and talk to,
Yeah.
and just find out that there's so many people in so many different parts of the world that were just couldn't wait to see Judge again. And
Yeah.
you know, you definitely take a step back and go, you know, what the fuck, you know? I'm just like I always felt like I probably didn't deserve everything that Judge gave me.
Until you came back and then actually
Well,
felt
yeah,
it.
I mean, people prove themselves to me all the time.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so fuck, man. So here we are now, like, and we're grown ass men, and we still have the same beliefs and the same shit we grew up on, the same values, and you withheld those values, you know, even when you're a biker, even when you're off the grid, and now like shit, we're really getting old, and all of us are all connected again through the internet, through everything else, and we're all like still playing music. It's I don't know. I think it's pretty amazing how powerful the music that we both have made that was never really, it was never mainstream on the radio or television and stuff like that, but somehow it's made its way through generations, and it still allows us to play shows and people care about what we still have to say. You know what I'm saying? Like as grown men too, the impact of hardcore music, regardless of like the whole pop punk thing we talked about yesterday, is like you were hearing about how pop punk was getting big and it was like this mainstream shit. It's still like, then people thought hardcore got like bigger, but in reality is that we're still part of a very underground scene, in many, many ways. Even though, like, you know, obviously we play bigger shows and festivals and we play with diverse bands, but like where we come from, the music that we're part of is like, it's still very underground and still very weird to people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just telling people what kind of music you play and you're on airplanes. I'm going to play a show in Europe. Oh, I'm in a band called H2O. What kind of music is it? Oh, it's like hardcore punk. And they're like, what is that? Like, people really don't know what kind of music we play. You know what I mean? I don't know. Just that word, I guess.
I totally get it. I mean, I try to wrap my head around everything now. I know, like, the rest of the guys in the band, they went on, played in different bands, played all these fucking places, big festivals and shit. So they're like, fit right in there. The first time they brought me to like a festival, I was like, what the fuck is this? You know, like like a fucking humongous stage, big fucking barrier, you know, thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah.
And I just felt fucking so out of place. It was like, I don't know. There's something about a fucking dark, dingy club and how personal it gets.
Totally.
And that's always when I feel like Judge is at its best, is when you're like a foot away from the person and you can hear him yelling back at you. And I'll take that over these big fests any day.
Yeah, it is weird. Like the other day we played the Warped Tour and I went into the crowd because the barricade was too far away. I just getting that energy. You lose the energy and the connection with the people. Even if they're singing your words and going off and dancing, they're so far away. It's just, I don't know, I just feel like the music that we play that's not the atmosphere it's built for. That's not what it's really about. You know what I mean? It's like just feeling somebody breathing on you and sweating on you and jumping on you and all that shit. Describing that right now, it sounds pretty gross to people that don't know really what that experience is, and getting jumped on and tackled. Like all that shit seems so crazy and wild, but like when you're actually in it and like you feel that connection, it's amazing, man. There's nothing like it in the world. You know what I mean? Like that's my natural high, I guess. You know?
Yeah, there's nothing like that at all. You know, and I also love that I can still do bills with, you know, my friends' bands like Gorilla Biscuits and stuff. There's nothing better than, you know, sharing a bill with. It just reminds me of those old days when both bands would be in a van together and just, you know, fucking just travel out to the middle of nowhere and play music.
100%. Okay, this is our last one. But what was some of the more current bands you get into now in hardcore? Like, what are some of the bands you found that you really love that you found later on, like when you started coming back around again? Like, oh shit, this band's like.
Well, I mean, they kind of range all over the place. Some of them are broken up, but
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of like new to me. I really love that band Carry On.
Yep.
I love Rise Against and
Yeah.
you know, Wisdom and Chains. There's a lot of shit. There's a lot of great music.
Yeah. Stuff you found.
If I had to pick one, it'd be like Wisdom and Chains constantly blow me away.
Yeah, they're a great band, dude. Excellent band. Great dudes too. Great melodies, everything. Like hardworking band too, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love them too. There's a lot of bands like that came out, or we like Trapped Under Ice. I like Turnstile, Angel Dust, Backtrack. There's so many young bands.
Angel Dust is fucking good too, man.
Yeah.
And Trapped Under Ice is really good.
Yeah. Just like good kids who like love core and love the history of it, and know the history of it, respect it. You know what I mean? Like I love that. That kind of like hardcore historians, and they know the roots of it all and respect it and have their own style. I love that, you know. And they work hard too.
Yeah.
Also Cool Hand.
I mean, I played bills with like different bands that I didn't really know at the time. I remember like having to, you know, follow that band Terror.
Yep.
And being like, fuck, I don't want to go on after that fucking band. You know, it's so fucking, it's so fucking heavy, man.
It really is.
That happens a lot, dude. I mean, I don't think I do anything special. I just think I fucking wrote some words that I really felt, and that's why I can still do them today, because I still really feel everything I wrote down is still true to me.
For sure. And what you said about Terror is interesting, because back then, like, Judge was the hardest shit. You know what I mean? Like, at that time, like, and then it's crazy. Then, like, other bands came after it that were, like, even, like, harder. Like, it's like, from when I first heard, like, the Judge, I was like, damn, this is really fucking hard. And then, like, there's so many bands at Madball, Hatebreed, like you said, Terror. There's so many bands that got more, like, it's crazy, man. There's so many bands since Judge, you know what I mean? Like, you Inspired too, for sure. Killing Time, just all those bands, dude. Fuck. Moon, you say you had a question, babe? You have to talk in the mic, though. You have to come over here. Moon's gonna ask a question to Mike. Here she is. Okay.
I don't know. Hello, Mike. If you covered, and I can't hear anything either, so I'm just gonna say, I don't know if you covered how you met Karen. I love that story. Ooh. And that, because you're Mike Judge. Hold on, put my ears on. Yeah. Because you're Mike Judge and you disappeared and went into the woods, it was like finding Bigfoot. Like, where'd he go? What's he look like? I heard he's a biker. I heard he this. All the crazy stories. And then when you came out of the woods at that show, one of my questions is, how did you feel? Like, what the hell? Like, did you think, oh, it's gone, it's, you know, things have changed, whatever, and then seeing thousands of people going nuts. Yeah. What was your feeling then? And then also, it's not even really a question. It's because just seeing you as like a big teddy bear and saying like, oh, I'm in love. I'm like, no, this guy kills people. He stomps people's heads off. And then you're like, I saw this girl at a bar. And it was so romantic. I just thought that was awesome to see two different sides of what one I thought you were A, and then what I thought you were as B. So, I don't know if that's a question or not, but I just had to say that.
Like, oh, you meet Karen and stuff?
Yeah.
Can you hear it? What's that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, say it again.
Yeah, so I don't even know. It's kind of like a rhetorical question.
Well, you answered the question yesterday about going to the show the first time, Karen watching. That's all covered. But meeting Karen, that story wasn't in there. But
and also watching Karen with you makes me happy, because a lot of girls sign up for boyfriend and band. They go after it. They try hard as they can. They do all these tricks. And then day one after it's like, yeah, we're together, they try rewinding, like, why do you gotta go on tour? Why do you gotta do all that stuff? And seeing you bring her and being able to join and like enjoy everything with you is awesome because she signed up for the Guy in the Woods.
Yeah,
And then you're like, oh
Yeah.
I'm in a band. And that probably was like,
I think part of it is, I believe Karen is a lot like me, where the way we came up, we're kind of like knock-around guys, you know? Not like we were just meant to get by. So I didn't even care that I was in a band when I met her. So it wasn't even something I talked about. So when we met, you know, eventually get married, all that shit, I never brought up I was in a band. It just never came up. And so then when the years go by and now Judge gets back together, in all honesty, one of the big reasons that I did this, and, you know, it went further than just the B&B thing, was all of a sudden I have the opportunity to take her to see places that I could never take her
otherwise.
Yeah. And that's why, you know, those first trips to Europe and stuff were fucking incredible, because she was with me and we were seeing things that we would never have seen if I wasn't in this position. And so as time went on, we wound up, you know, rescuing a dog. So now she can't come with me because someone that the dog knows has to be with him. And it bums me out because now I get to go to places and they're like, well, how was it? And I was like, I don't even want to experience these places because I don't want to come home and tell her how cool it was, you know? I want her to see it for herself. And it's a drag now for me to do all this traveling.
That's the teddy bear side that I see, which is awesome. Like, you want to spend time with her and take her, and that's so awesome.
She gets to travel everywhere with him. Like you, baby.
Yeah, I don't want to see cool things if I can't see it with her. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
I don't want to come home. I don't want to come home and explain how cool
great
something
it was.
looked, or take a fucking picture and, you know, text it to her. That makes me that bums me out. I want her to see it. I want her to experience it. I want her to come home and tell her friends, this is where I was and this is what we did. You know?
You can come home and be like, oh, it was terrible, Karen, I swear.
I do. I sit in, a lot of times I just sit in the fucking hotel room and I just don't want to experience it unless I'm experiencing it with her.
You gotta get a dog sitter. We're having that right now. We gotta figure out what to do with Stella.
Stella is a dream. My dog is a monster. he was abused and he just doesn't trust people. So he trusts me and Karen, and we're the only ones who can be around him.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But you know, I love him, so I would never let him down.
That's amazing. Well, I'm glad that you answered that. And now people can know that you're actually a big fluffy teddy bear and a love ball. And it's awesome. All right, I'm going to put you on with... Yeah, go ahead.
I think people who grew up with me, knew, you know, they've always known that the fucking just rumors got crazy about me. And it's just crazy just because no one could do any fact checking back then.
Yeah, no one could Google you.
Yeah.
Which section of the woods you were really in.
Back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. No, yeah, he just said, like, you can't fact check back then.
Wow.
And even crazier, we talked about it, Mike, how I probably served you, albeit water, at the Limelight. Like, how would I would have ever known to, like, look for you, you know?
Wow.
Yeah. I used to have to go there. When I was in the bike club, I used to have to go there because, you know, Red and White used to have an upstairs room where they would, you know, talk. We would talk and, you know.
The crazy thing is that when I worked that room, like someone could buy 15 bottles of champagne at $90 a pop, and while they were waiting for that, I couldn't give them a drink for free. But when that club came in, anything went. Give them whatever they want,
Yeah.
anytime, no matter what.
Yeah, crazy times.
I knew I was going to get good tips up there.
No doubt.
All right, well, I'm going to put Toby back on, and I will talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
That was Moon's part of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. All right, awesome. I think we covered everything, Mike. This is awesome, man. I'm gonna. So Moon got the softer side conversation from Mike just now. the love side. Oh yeah. Okay. Final, Mike. What would be one of your favorite movies of all time?
Favorite movies of all time? Just because, I miss my father and all. Probably The Godfathers.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's some classic.
My father's like an old school Sicilian, so.
Oh wow.
My father was like full Sicilian. My mother was like full Irish. So
that's amazing.
That's why I'm such like a fucking time bomb.
That's a crazy mix. It's a cocktail explosion. That's crazy, Mike. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, well, fuck, man. This has been a great conversation. I think we talked about everything. We covered so many things. I appreciate your time, your friendship, all that. I think people will enjoy this conversation. Yeah, man, Mike. Thank you so much again, and I'll call you in real life once we hang up, and we'll catch up. And I'm gonna go to Europe tomorrow.
Brother.
But I appreciate your time, Mike.
Thanks for letting me be a part, dude.
Of course, man. And I'll speak to you soon.
All right, cool.
All right, peace, Mike. Bye.
Easy.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. Please rate, review, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet to this podcast, please do that. And whatever platform you are listening to this on, I'm glad you found me. You can rate me and review me on there also. So thank you guys sincerely for the support. I cannot wait for you guys to hear the next one.